Welcome back to the Knitter's Gotta Knit podcast. This is Stitch 2, where we knit one stitch at a time. First, we wanted to say, I'm Carrie.
I'm Darlene.
And we wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody that watched us, our first podcast. We were nervous. We got some great comments about how we didn't look nervous. And just thank you. And thank you to all the podcasters that mentioned us and pointed people our way. And we're just overwhelmed with the great community and everything that's going on. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. It was a nice surprise because I didn't think anybody but, maybe our immediate family would watch us and,
Right.
close, a few friends. But so it was a pleasant surprise to see
Very
how
pleasant.
many people that watched us. So thank you. And
Yes.
thank you for coming back. If you watched our first episode, thanks for coming back. And if you're new, thank you for
Checking us
out.
And welcome. We thought we would open up with a little bit about ourselves. We didn't talk too much about ourselves last week. Again, we said we were nervous and we just rattled on a mile a minute and went through everything real quick. So we are best friends. We do work at the same company. We're not in the same department. We're not on the same floor, but we do knit together every day at lunch.
We do.
And I will go ahead and let Darlene go on with her.
Okay. My husband told me that, we should tell how I got my name, Awesome Granny. So, because he said, people might think that you think that you're all that, and that's not the case.
But I think she's all that.
Well, thank you. The way I got that was we had five grandkids, and every summer they come and they stay for a week. And my oldest granddaughter, Kagan, she asked me when she got married and had kids what I wanted to be called. And I said I didn't want to be called grandmother or great-grandmother or great-grandma because I didn't like any of those. They all sounded stuffy. And number 3, Peyton, she said, well, how about Awesome Granny? And she said, I want to start calling you Awesome Granny now because I think you're awesome. And, who don't want to be thought they're awesome by their grandkids, right? So that's how the name of the shop came about was...
Bags by Awesome Granny.
Bags by Awesome Granny because
Thanks,
of my... Yeah, thank you, Peyton. Mm-hmm. And I've been married for 37 years. We have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. And my husband and I ride motorcycles. And the way that started was, you hear all the time about marriages, falling apart once the kids are gone because there's no longer anything in common. And I didn't want that to happen to us. And my husband has very few interests. I mean, he's not a social person. He's not, he wouldn't play golf. Which I don't know how to play golf anyway. But, I couldn't think of anything that I thought he would really enjoy doing other than riding motorcycles. And he had a motorcycle at the time. But I never liked being a passenger. if we were going to ride, I wanted to have my own. And so I told Bruce, I said, will you teach me to ride a motorcycle and then we can ride motorcycles together? Well, he jumped on that like a duck on a June bug because he loved riding motorcycles. So he taught me to ride and I hated it every minute. Every time I got on it for 2 years, I would just pray, Lord, look, don't let me die today. I did not enjoy it. And then we went on our first motorcycle vacation. And I think that's when things started clicking and it started feeling, more natural and stuff. And that was 14 years ago. And we've ridden about probably 70,000 miles on vacation. On vacations, we go on a motorcycle vacation every year. And we both ride now. We both ride Honda Goldwings. And our dog goes with us. And she rides in a soft-sided pet carrier. I know that freaks people out whenever we say our dog goes with us. We're not the crazy fools that have a dog just sitting back on, on the tank or in the back seat, because we have seen those people. I know all of you have seen people that, do stupid stuff like that. That's not us. Susie rides in a soft-sided pet carrier that is strapped to the passenger seat on my husband's motorcycle. And it has a full back rest and side arm rest, so she's not going anywhere. And she's been riding since she was 6 weeks old, and she's 9 now. But this year was really hard on her. In fact, we had to stop a couple of times and get hotels this year when we normally wouldn't have because of Susie, because she was just too exhausted and she needed to get in a room with an air conditioner. So next year she will either stay with our daughter in her house of craziness. She has 3 dogs, a turtle, a chinchilla, a husband, and 2 kids. And so Susie, in fact, I asked her this year, I said, "Child, will you board your dogs and keep Susie while we go on vacation?" She was, and I was just kidding. But she said, "Well, no, but Susie can stay with us." And I told her, I said, "No, Susie don't like your dogs." so we took her with us. But next year, she's either going to have to stay with Shyla, or she may even stay with Carrie next year while we go on vacation.
I only have one dog, and we don't know if Susie likes her or not. But Precious is also right about 9, and so they'll probably just leave each other alone.
Yeah, she would actually do really good here. Yeah. I think my daughter's house is just so busy, with children and she has a lab, a golden retriever, and a schnauzer, and Susie's a weenie dog, and the busyness of Shyla's house would Susie would, I don't know, I mean, she would be fine. Shyla and Tim would take good care of her, but I think that would also might be hard on Susie because she's not used to so much activity. Because at my house, it's just my husband and I and her, and she does rule the roost. You know that
she does. She does. She calls all the shots there in that household.
So and then Carrie taught me to knit. I think I said this last time on the first podcast that I have always wanted to learn to knit, and I just didn't know how to go about it. And I knew she knitted because we worked for a relatively small company, so we knew of each other, but we didn't know each other. But I did know she knitted.
I knitted at my desk every day and quietly.
And so I just barged into her office one day, literally, and said, "I'm Darlene, will you teach me to knit?" And we have been joined at the hip ever since.
I ran home before lunch. I got knitting needles. I got some yarn, and we were starting. Somebody wanted to learn how to knit, and we were going with it. So.
And we used to knit at Carrie's desk at work, and we would laugh, and then people would come by and "What are y'all doing? Are y'all having a party?" So then we were afraid people were going to want to come and join us, so we moved to a conference room. So
now we do have a couple of ladies from work that have since joined our little group, a group of 2, but there's not many. There's 2 others right now. There were 6 or 7 at one point, but there's just 4 of us now.
And that was too much. The 6 or 7 was too much. You start getting into dynamics that aren't. Believe me, you don't want to hang out with some people you work with at lunch every day. And so we don't advertise that we knit at work because we like it just being the 4 of us. The 4 of us do good together, and we all enjoy being with each other, but we don't want it to become a thing where we have a lot of people that it's just we're just selfish. We want it to just stay the 4 of us.
Yeah, and we really do enjoy it. So
we do. So that's me. So
I'm Carrie, and I learned to knit in, let me tell you about my family a little bit. I'm a widow, but that happened many years ago in 2004, and I have a boyfriend of 10 years. We met in 2007, and everything's going fine with that, and I have 3 kids and 5 grandkids. My daughter, I have 2 boys and 1 girl. My daughter's the youngest. Her name's Paige. And she lives with me right now, temporarily. She's looking for a home to buy, hopefully before school starts. Antonio, her son, is going to be starting kindergarten this year, August 14th, right around the corner. And she's looking for a home. My brother-in-law's a realtor and has been helping her, try and find a house to put a bid on. And she's getting a little frustrated, but, hopefully something comes up soon. So she lives with me along with her boyfriend, Chris, and her son, Antonio. So I will end up talking about Antonio all the time. He lives the closest to me out of all my grandkids. I see him the most out of all of my grandkids. I love them all equally. I just see him more, which is why I will talk about him more. I mean, he lives here. He sleeps in my bed with me right now because he doesn't want to sleep with Chris and Mom. So he loves his grandma, and I do spoil him. So I have that. I have a really pretty boring life. I love to knit. I learned to knit in 2009, and it's my world. I started a stitch and bitch in San Antonio. in July of 2009, and I learned about Ravelry right around the same time. I joined Ravelry. I started a blog, I think, in 2002, somewhere around there. And, no, 2012. That would be weird to start a blog before I learned to knit. It's 2012.
You're that good.
I am that good. I made it Life of a Knitfomaniac. I changed my name on Ravelry and the whole 9 yards, and I'm a Knitfomaniac on Ravelry. And I can't wait to leave work and get home and knit and, knit all day. I don't have a husband that I have to go home and cook for every day. Don't get me wrong, my boyfriend comes over every once in a while, but I've never really been all that domesticated to where I'm not a great cook. I try. I'm not a great cook. I have a few dishes that I can cook. I do the best that I can. When my kids were younger, it was a lot of on the road food between soccer practices and, volleyball practice for Paige and, different things. So, McDonald's, chachos, tacos were a big part, but I would cook every once in a while. I usually would cook on the weekends more, but so I don't have to run home and cook a, 5-course meal, or I'm fine with warming up some corn dogs and sitting and knitting all night, and binge watching.
We do, my husband and I, we do cook every night. We don't enjoy going out to eat. We just don't like sitting in a restaurant, and we're too cheap to go out, really. So I have a nephew, his name is Shannon, and he's the one I'm making the sweater for. He comes down a lot. He's a truck driver. He owns his own truck, and he told us he's here usually every Thursday and Sunday, just about. He's here, and he said, I just love coming here because y'all cook every night. I mean, that boy can eat. He's an eater. So, it's we have to eat, so, we cook. And in fact, last night, Bruce and I usually take turns. He'll cook one night and I'll cook one night. And last night I told him, I said, get this. I said, I know it's my night to cook, but if you'll cook tonight, I'll cook every night next week.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I knew the girls were going to be here and I would cook every night anyway, so so he did cook last night. But I wanted to show y'all a picture. I'm going to digress a little bit. This is my son-in-law, Tim, world's best son-in-law, and my granddaughter, Peyton, number 3. They're in a chili cook-off today in Castroville. They're called Team Pigtail. So they're they're cooking at this moment their chili for their chili cook-off.
If that doesn't come out real well, I don't know how the glare is on the iPad. I'll try and insert a picture or whatever. She'll text it to me and try and get it in there. But he is the world's best son-in-law.
He is. He's awesome.
So I just really, I get up, I go to work. I work early. I prefer to get to work by 7 so I can leave by 4. I'm notorious for sneaking out a bit early every once in a while because I just want to get home and knit. So I come home, I knit. I will cook every once in a while, but really my life is just about my family and my knitting and, Darlene. And I do see my boyfriend every once in a while. He comes over and he knows that I'm sitting and knitting. And it's actually kind of funny. He recently got a new job. He's had his own business for, I don't even know how many years, 13, 15 years or something. And things just weren't going all that well. They were kind of slowing down. So he thought, well, I think I'm going to go work for this other company. He had a friend that worked there, and he did. He went and worked for this other company, but it was a lot of travel. He was, great pay, overtime hours, loved the money, but he was driving to Mission, Texas, and he was going to have to go to Tyler, and he went to Houston and Dallas and places I can't even remember, and hours away. Sometimes he'd have to spend the night, get a hotel room, and we'd talk every day or whatever. And it was funny because he was telling his boss, and he says, Carrie sure does miss me coming over. And I did miss him coming over. But then he kind of, said, all I really do is sit there while she's knitting. We don't really talk that much because, heaven forbid, he starts talking and I'm in the middle of counting or something. So it's just funny, the dynamics of it. He would come over and we'd sit in our chairs and, watch TV, watch a show he liked or I liked. But yet we didn't talk all that much. But when I was sitting at home knitting alone without him there, it was, kind of sad, even though, most of the time I'd be like, shh, I'm counting, quiet, 17, 18, 19, whatever. But But that's what I do. I just, knit.
And I love to knit too, and I knit as much as I can. And my husband, he pays very good attention to the things that I do.
He does.
And one night, it was early on when I started knitting. I've been knitting maybe a year or two, and he was cooking supper. Like I said, we take turns, and he said, "Supper's ready. Come eat." And I told him, I said, "Okay, well wait," because I needed to get to a stopping point. And he said, "You're knitting in the round. There is no end of the row, so you can stop." And I was like, "Okay."
My boyfriend Jaime, he would have never caught on that. He'd be like, "All right, babe, let me know when you're ready."
And in fact, when I made his sweater, I was talking about whenever I started Shannon's, I was saying, that if I didn't, I hope I'm getting in this right. I said, if it don't fit, then I can just make the sleeve longer. I was thinking that I would it was a top down, and Bruce said, "You can't do that. You knitted the sleeves from the bottom up, and you attached them at the to the sweater." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're
absolutely
right. That is exactly how I did it." But he pays very good attention to what I do, and he he asks questions because he's interested, and
sure.
And so sometimes he knows too much.
Sometimes like wait till I get to the end of the round when you're knitting in the round.
Yeah,
so
right. So,
well, I think if you guys have any questions, ask us in the Ravelry group. Hopefully we'll continue to talk about ourselves and, our friendship and different things of that nature. But it is a knitting podcast, and we'll jump into some knitting.
Okay.
We were talking about knitting, but we'll jump into more of it.
Yep.
So, finished objects.
So, on the last podcast, I had brought a bag that my project wasn't even started, but I'd said that I wanted to knit my daughter-in-law these gloves that I promised her like 8 months ago. And I brought them to show, hoping that it would make me at least get one glove finished before the next podcast.
And accountability.
I thought, if I say it, if I put it out there, then maybe I'll do it. Well, I did it. That actually worked. So I have two. I finished both of them. So I did just realize I sewed up the holes in this one, but I haven't sewed up the holes in this one. So I need to do that before I give them to her tonight. But so that's finished, and this is my only finished object for this week. This podcast, but yay! I've been wanting to do them for 9 months, and now they're done. So thank y'all
for the accountability.
Yes.
So I finished my llama drama. I was working on it last week. We'll try to hold things up higher. I know that got a couple comments. We didn't have stuff high enough. I did lower the iPad, but this is a Casapinka pattern. It's called Llama Drama. It is exclusive right now for 6 months because it's part of the Miss Babs knitting tour. This is Miss Babs Yummy and the 3-ply sport weight. And I mentioned that, had a link in there, but it's finished. Thank you very much. And then last week I had mentioned that I wanted to start some hats for Darlene's niece, and I did do that. I made 2. This is the chemo. Let's see what the pattern says. Rolled brim chemo cap. Hope that's even on there, right? Can't even tell. It's a free pattern.
That's right.
On Ravelry.
Super soft.
It's nice. It's a nice yarn. So I finished that one, and then I also finished this one. Let's see if I can put that on here. Maybe not.
I think that'll fit her.
I was afraid this one might have been too small, but
if you don't have hair,
I think it looks good.
I think it's super cute.
So
she's gonna love them.
So those are my finished objects, and then we will jump into whips.
So I have a couple. Because everyone knows, especially my family, because I complain about it all the time, how much I love knitting in black, I decided that I wanted to make Teresa, my daughter-in-law, a hat to go with her gloves. And I wanted to get it done by today, because I'm going to see her tonight at the motorcycle race. But I'm not going to get it done. So hopefully I'll be done with it by next week. But I'm doing it in black, and the stitch pattern is kind of hard to see because it is black, but she loves black. But I'm going to tell her that This is the last thing I'm making her in black. If she wants me to make her anything else, she needs to find a new favorite color. Because I just hate black. And, I mean, it looks nice, but I just don't enjoy knitting with black. So,
I still have my Brio Chevron cowl that I showed last week. It has not gotten a lot of love because it's a thinker. And I did mention last week that I really love just straight knit patterns. I can knit faster with them. I don't have to think. I don't have to pay attention. But I do love the look of brioche. So this is where I was with my cute little Naughty Knitworks progress paper last podcast. So I've made a little bit of progress, but I know that I need to make some more. This is part of my big 4, so I'd like to have it finished by this month to go onto my next one. So.
Oh. And my next thing is a Ricky hat. It's the Ricky hat pattern. I don't know if everybody's heard of it. It's kind of like people that make the sockhead hat usually make the Ricky hat too. And my daughter loves the sockhead hat, so I'm making her this out of Madeline Tosh DK. Oh my goodness, I'm losing my stitches.
She dropped some stitches.
Sure did. Well, I'll fix that later. But so I'm just working. It's just knit one, purl one for forever inches. And then I need to make a glove, like Teresa's black glove, but I just need one because I made Shyla a pair of these gloves a couple of years ago, and she lost one, so I need to make her a replacement glove. So hopefully, maybe I'll get those done soon.
My next whip is Tour de Sac. I think I mentioned it last week, and thankfully some people had never heard of it, so I'm happy to tell people about it. But this is stage 1. The first pattern came out. It is paid for. Not that I think you can read any of this, but it has little fins. It's called fins, and it's got little fins in the cuff. And again, to beat a dead horse, I usually don't like to do patterns on anything. More of a vanilla sock kind of gal, but I do enjoy doing Tour de Sac, and I try and better myself every year and finish a few more socks than I did the year before. But this is a sloth of a knit for me because it just feels like it's going so slow. That's one of them that still has a little bit less than 1 repeat left. This is the other one. It has all the required repeats completed, but I still have to do some ribbing rows and then the fins on the top. It had an afterthought leg, actually. You closed up the afterthought here, you knitted the heel and then opened this up and then went up, which was a different type of construction, and you take pictures of it in between and turn it in for different points and stuff. So these are due by Tuesday, so I hope to have them done by Tuesday. I am double dipping, triple dipping, and every dipping that I can, because it is Desert Vista Dye Works yarn. It's in the Prince of Thieves colorway, and so it will also double as my July socks for the DVD, and hopefully I get them done.
Yeah, I wouldn't be real upset if those didn't find their way into the Christmas box. So, I really like those. So my next thing is also, and Carrie mentioned the part of our big 4. This is part of, and we probably need to tell what that is. So we used to do the Loopy U, the
Camp Loopy, every year for 3 months.
And then we stopped doing it because I just got busy, and it was, to be perfectly honest, a 1 skein shawl is not big enough for me. I'm not gonna wear it. I'm not gonna use it. And so, I kind of lost interest in that just because the smaller projects, I'm not gonna say they're a waste of time, but it's kind of a waste of time for me because I'm not gonna get any use out of them. Now Peyton, my granddaughter, she loves she has a ton of my knitted things that I've given her.
So we decided a couple years ago that if we were already doing 1 project a month for the 3 months, which I think was June, July, and August of the year for Camp Loopy, we thought, well, why don't we, we're kind of crazy whip starters. We see something, oh my gosh, gotta cast on real quick, blah, blah, which you'll see in a little bit with some more whips that we have. But we thought, we've got all these whips that kind of, get cast to the side or whatever. Instead of doing a new project for the 3 months, we were so excited to start it. We did it a month early, and now we call it the Big 4 virtual retreat. And we pick 4 things in our whips, and we try and finish them in 4 months. You have, 1 item per month, and you can go over and, finish one faster and take longer on another, or however you want to do it. But that's what we call the Big 4, and it helps us get some of our whips done.
It does. So this is one of my Big 4 projects, and this is my hedgehog fade, and I am ready to do the lace on the pink section, and then I'll attach my next color. So my goal on this is to have it finished by the next time we podcast, which is in 2 weeks.
That will be great.
So, because it's just going to be gorgeous, so I'm anxious to get it done.
It's beautiful. And then speaking of those whips that, just keep popping up or whatever, I had a overbearing desire to cast on the Boxy Cape by Hohi Locato.
I've never even seen that pattern.
I'm sorry it's crinkly and all closed up, but it's just a big, rectangle. I think it's got some buttons in different sections with a little bit of a V-neck. It's worsted weight yarn. It will probably take me a year to finish it because it's easy knitting. It's non-thinking, so I don't have to work on my brioche chevron or non-thinking for the fins or what have you. It's just this separate knitting where I can just, the day is done, it's over, and I'm brain dead. Let me just do some pure knitting with a little bit of ribbing on the end. So here it is. Not much, but this is Malabrigo worsted, which is what hers is made in. Malabrigo worsted is recommended. Oh, that's the wrong side. And this is the Rhodesian color, which my favorite color, this burnt orange color. And I've already had this yarn in my stash and just cast on and went to town with it.
So, looks great.
See how long that takes. Who knows?
So my next, I didn't bring my nephew Shannon's sweater because I had to restart one of the sleeves that I was working on because I messed up on the cable. So made no progress on it. I did knit on it a little bit, but like I said, it's nothing you're going to be able to tell because I had to restart one of the sleeves. But I decided I wanted to make my husband a new sweater, and so I chose the Ranger sweater by Jared Flood. And my husband wears the sweaters that I make him. I made him a Darren sweater. I think Carrie showed you in the last podcast.
It's beautiful.
And he wears it all the time, so I wanted him to have another sweater so that he would have 2 to wear. So I'm making it out of Malabrigo Rios in the Bobby blue color. And I just think it's beautiful. And so I'm anxious to get it made. And Bruce did tell me, he said, you can't finish that sweater before you finish Shannon. So I'm going to have to schedule. I've got to schedule some time. But, I was telling him that I enjoy making things for him because a sweater is a huge commitment. And I know that he's going to wear them,
Right.
And I think Shannon will wear it. But, you just never know, And, I know Bruce will. I know that he'll wear it. He appreciates it, and he knows the work that goes into it. And so
very knitworthy.
He is very knitworthy. So I love to knit for him. So.
And because she started that one, and because we're joined at the hips, of course, I had to start one too. At first, I thought I would make this one for me, and then I started thinking, I haven't made my daddy anything really big. I've made him some golf club covers, but I've knit my sister and my mom and niece and, the socks and shawls and different things, even my aunts and other relatives, but I haven't made my daddy anything real big. And I think that sweater would look great on my daddy. So I sent my mom a picture of the pattern, and she says, I think the red looks great. And I had this yarn in my stash. It's also Malabrigo Rios. I don't know how to say the colorway, Cereze, Cerezea, something like that. I did have this yarn earmarked for a sweater for me, so I did jump on a website and order a few more skeins, 10 more skeins, so I can still have a sweater in this color for me, but this is for my daddy. I'm not quite as far as Darlene, but it's some nice mindless knitting along with my wrap to wear when I'm, again, brain dead over brioche chevron and fins, socks, that I have some simple knitting. That's my last whip.
And that's mine too.
Okay, so we jump to stash enhancements. I know we said last week we weren't always going to have a whole bunch of stash enhancements, and I still think that's going to ring very, very true. But Darlene forgot her stash enhancements for the first podcast, and they're beautiful, so we really want to show them. And
but first, should we tell about our giveaway yarn?
Oh, yes, our giveaway yarn.
So Christy from the Yarn Cafe Creations, she has a podcast called
Girls in the Cafe.
Girls in the Yarn Cafe. It's her and her cute little daughter, and they're just actually, the first time I saw it, I thought they were sisters, and I'm sure they hear that all the time. Christy's a very young mom, but she sent me this yarn for a giveaway, and it is just the softest yarn. And I brought 2 other skeins. I'll tell you, I don't know how people get all their crap together to bring to somebody's house to do a podcast, because I forgot my 2 skeins that I got of this that I wanted to show because they're beautiful, but I'll bring them next time. But Christy sent this for our very first giveaway, so thank you, Christy.
Thank you, Christy.
And it's called Mermaid Party, and it's on her Twinkle Toes sock base, and it is just the most beautiful yarn. And
it is really soft and fluffy. I know why Leslie oohs and ahs and just gushes over
and it's kind of amazing that it's this soft with the stellina in it, because you can't even feel the stellina in it. But so it's just beautiful. And so we'll have a thread in our Ravelry group, to go to the prompt to be to go to Christy's shop, tell us what you like, so that we'll know that you went to the shop. But it's just gorgeous, and so we will draw a winner.
Thank you, Christy. So we have giveaway yarn. We did get some free yarn from one other, I guess, semi-sponsor type thing. I helped moderate the Biscotti Yarns Ravelry group, and Louise, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong because I don't speak French, but Louise sent us a cute little note saying, thank you to, for the new podcast, girls, have fun. I told her we started a new podcast. Thank you, Louise, for sending this. It was very, very generous of you. This is Biz Sock in the Party Animal colorway. It's self-striping. It's new.
And mine is a DK. It's called DK Pure. And, she didn't, pick this one for me and that one for Carrie. She sent them. But Carrie let me pick. And I picked this one because I don't knit socks. But I do knit my daughter a lot of hats and gloves and stuff. And so I think I'm going to order another one of these so that I can make Shyla a hat and a matching pair of gloves. Because if it gets below 74, Shyla wears gloves and hat and a parka. And that's a slight exaggeration, but not much. She's very, very cold-natured. It's amazing to me that her and Casey are both, my son, are so cold-natured when, they're not from South Texas, but you would swear they are, because they freeze if it gets in the 70s. So thank you very much for the yarn. It's just gorgeous.
Yes, thank you, Louise. And then I think I showed you guys last week the yarn that I wanted to do for the, what a knitter wants. I still want to do the outline, and that's still on my want list. But of course now I have the wrap and the Ranger on there. But I showed you these 2 yarns. And Darlene had made a comment that she had a junk yarn that she got on vacation. And, we mentioned that we shop in each other's stash all the time. Mm-hmm. So she gave me her vacation yarn to go with it because it does go perfectly.
It does.
So thank you very much. And I do have some yarn coming from Christy at Yarn Cafe Creations. So hopefully when that gets here, I have about 3 skeins and I just need 2 more. I'm going to somehow, put them together and decide what order, or maybe just draw them out of a hat and knit them in different order or whatever. I don't know, but this is going to be part of my outline for the future. So.
I got to figure out what I'm going to use for outline. So back to vacation. Whenever we were in Oregon, I met up with, like I said in the last podcast, Leslie and Michelle from the Naughty Knitwits, Angelique from Black Sheep Yarn, Carrie from the Creative Obsession, and she has a podcast, and she also has an Etsy shop, and their friend Lori, and they all brought me presents, and it was just the sweetest thing. And I forgot to bring the yarn that Lori brought me.
You're just forgetful.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm so sorry. So I'll bring it next time. But it's Socks That Rock, and I didn't know that Socks That Rock dyer is an Oregon dyer.
She is,
and she actually lives down the road from Carrie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think, and actually, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that Carrie had said that she went and saw how she dyes yarn and
Oh, well, that's
stuff.
neat.
So isn't that awesome? So while I was there, Carrie, I got this. Carrie, it was her birthday when we were there, and I didn't know it was her birthday. I mean, I'd never met them, but all of the ladies had a little birthday party for Carrie before we went on our yarn crawl. And Leslie from the Naughty Knitwits knit Carrie the Good Vibes shawl out of Carrie's yarn. And this one is called Granite, and this one's called Visions of Sugar Plum, and they just go perfect together. And that shawl was gorgeous. And I made the comment that I wanted to knit that exact shawl with the exact yarn. So Carrie and I did a swap. She gave me these 2 skeins of her yarn, and I sent her a hippo bag set. So we did a little
orange,
swap.
but...
Yeah, hers was purple. I put a purple zipper and purple lining because Carrie's favorite color is purple. But then Angelique brought me this beautiful yarn of hers, and I don't know what the name of it is. The tag fell off, but I can find out, and Carrie can link it in the show notes. So I'll send Angelique a message and ask her what it is. But that's just beautiful. But Leslie and Michelle gave me this one, and they also gave me this one from Angelique's Yarn Shop. It's called Pearls and Lace, and they talk about this color all the time, and it really is.
It's a beautiful color.
Just as gorgeous as what they say. And I actually would love to make a sweater
out of just
this color. But a fingering weight sweater,
I've made a fingering weight sweater.
Yeah.
It takes forever.
but I may have to get some more of this and do that because I just think it's beautiful. And then Angelique gave me a yarn of hers that's called Garden Party that actually goes really good with this one.
It does.
So
very well.
You know, maybe a sulfated sweater with a 3rd color or something. But it was just so sweet of them all to like have a present for me. I mean, they'd never met me, and it was just the sweetest, most awesome thing.
Yeah.
So that's all of my yarn.
I only have one other stash enhancement, and you saw part of it on this chemo hat that I've already dropped. This is a yarn called From Rosy Green Wool, Cheeky Merino Joy, and it's in the Rose Garden colorway, but I also got 2 more skeins in the Ruby colorway that are still. And this yarn is from England. You know, I was looking for yarn to make a really soft hat for Darlene's niece, and so I had tried this yarn, not this color, but this yarn. A couple years ago, I was part of the Martina Bain Knit Me Club, and this brand of yarn was in one of the kits, and it was super soft. And I made 3-color cashmere shawl with it, and so I thought, well, I think I'm going to order some of that yarn for Cynthia. And so I had, and her favorite color is red, so I'd ordered the Rose Garden, and then I saw the Ruby, and you know, you're already paying shipping from England. I just had to jump in.
It's so pretty
in the cart. So I got these 2, and that's the only yarn that I got this week. But I did want to add that I did get some DVD minis. So when I do the DVD sock a month, you get I think Michelle has mentioned it before, different prizes for different numbers of posts in Instagram. And so I have a set of 10 minis and a set of 5 minis. I put them in plastic bags, so hopefully they're not crinkling in your ear. But I have made a lot of Desert Vista dye work socks, so I've got a lot of bits and minis and different things. So I hope to one day, maybe next year, it probably won't be on the list this year, to make a Desert Vista dye work, maybe crocheted blanket type thing. And as I speak of crochet, the last thing stash
so
enhancement
cute.
that I have, there's a lady in New Braunfels, which isn't too far from us, and I got this. It's polymer clay shed.
Yeah.
Polymer clay shed, and it's like this has sheep and yarn balls on it. I'm not so sure if you can see that. I might be able to get a picture in the Ravelry group better, and it's like a drill bit. You like open up this little spigot part up here, and then it's in an interchangeable set, and so you pick the crochet hook size that you want, and you put that in there and shove it down, and then close it back up, and you've got yourself a little interchangeable crochet hook set. So I thought this was fabulous. She's got an Etsy shop, and I think she's got a couple of other ones. it's got a little rubber gripper, and it comes in the little case. And I'm not a huge crocheter, but with the whole crochet blanket craze, I do have a crochet blanket going, and I want to make more in the future. So I thought this was just darling. So
it is. It's so cute. And actually, one of my big 4 projects is a crochet blanket for Teresa, for my daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
So the only other stash enhancement I have is some stitch markers from Sugar Tots. I think if y'all probably heard Michelle and Leslie talk about them. They're really cute. I got the green tea, the tea bag, Progress Keeper, and a lemon cupcake, and a popsicle, and this gnome. I actually may send this to Leslie because I know she likes gnomes, so I may send this to her. I think it's cute. And then I just love this radish. Cute little radish. And that's all I have of that.
All right. Well, I think we've talked about ourselves. We've gone through FOs and whips and stash enhancements and a prize coming up. And I did want to mention that, as we said in the beginning of the podcast, thank you to everybody who's, watched us. We are going to do a 500 subscriber giveaway. So we're really close to hitting 500. And when we do, I'm not exactly sure what the prize is. We don't know yet, but we're going to...
It will be at least a bag and maybe something else.
Yeah, we'll throw something together. And again, thank you. I think that's all we have podcast-wise, but we do have... Darlene has some new bag sets, so we're going to talk a little bit of shop, but if you don't want to hear that, then that's fine. Again, thank you for checking us out, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
First, I wanted to show this bag. This is a tote bag that I'm making for Brindley, or that I made for Brindley. My number 3, my motorcycle riding granddaughter, and my son made a really cute video of her first year of racing. If anybody's interested in it, I'll have Carrie put it in the link. But it's just amazing to me how she's progressed in a year. But anyway, if you are interested, the link will be there. But here's her tote bag, and then I made. I'll have a few of these in the shop. It's a bag. This is Brindley's, but I'll have others like this in the shop, and it has just the what do you call that? Houndstooth, pink houndstooth in it. And then I have a little hippie flower child kind of bag, and flower power, there you go. I actually was going to make number 3, Peyton, a tote bag and some bags out of this.
Peyton's number 4, by the way.
Yes. And then I was going to make her a big tote bag and a set, and then she saw my hippo bag and she wanted it, so she's not getting this and the hippo bag, so she got the hippo bag, and
this
one's going in the shop. But I think it's really cute, and it's so Peyton. But she's kind of a hippie girl. And then this one is dogs. It's got a little dog chewing on a shoe and sniffing of a shoe, and maybe men would like this bag.
I really like it. I think it's very neutral colors, but I still love it. Even being the girly girl that I am, I still love it. And I love the browns and blues.
I mean, we love dogs, and there's a little weenie dog, and I'm a weenie dog person. And then it's got a polka dotted inside. And then this one is a shy fox. I call it the shy fox because the fox has little. She's got bat in her eyes there. And this is just a fall color bag, which I think is really pretty, and it's just got the orange inside. But this one is my favorite one. I always have a favorite one when I do updates, and this one is Nursery Rhymes. And it's got the ring around the rosy, Mother Goose, the cow jumping over the moon. It has Jack and Jill going up the hill, and Humpty Dumpty, and the 3 blind mice. But my husband says they're not blind. They wear the sunglasses because they're just extremely cool. Yeah. And I just think it's so cute. And it's got just got a little heart, sweet little heart thing lining on the inside.
Oh, I like those.
And these will be up in the shop this weekend. I've got to go to Houston as soon as we're done here to go to my granddaughter's motorcycle race.
Brindley, the one with the flower bag.
But they will be when I get home tomorrow. I will put these in the shop. That's it.
That's it, guys.
So, I did want to say, and I haven't asked Carrie to do this, but maybe she will. In our thread, in our Ravelry group, maybe we can put in, or I can do it. I know you do everything, but I can do it. Put a thing in there that you can ask us questions if you want us to answer questions, or tell you anything about where we live, or
if you want to tell us anything about you.
Yeah, we would love to hear about you.
We would love to get to know about you guys. You know, who's listening to us and who we're spending our time with. We'd love it.
And tell us that if we're doing something you don't like, we want to know that too.
Yeah,
as heartbreaking as it is, we want to know that too.
You know, we want to know. We had some people tell us we didn't hold stuff high enough, and you know what? They were absolutely right. We didn't hold it up high enough.
They were. So we will take any advice, criticism, whatever. So, but thank you for joining, and hope to see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, hope to see you in 2 weeks. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.